So tonight, there won't be a lot of counselor discussion. This is a chance for the public to weigh in, and so the counselors have had some discussion. There'll be a chance for final comments and further discussion before we have our final budget vote as well. Counselors, you're all familiar with this process, but just to help members of the public stay oriented with us. So I will officially call us to order in a moment. I will take this opportunity to say that if members of the public are here or following us because you're on your way here and you would like to sign up to speak, you can do so on the sheet of paper that is in front of our city clerk, Lisa Kent, and you can add your name and then we will take speakers in the order that they are signed up. So with that, I will officially call to order this special meeting of the Beverly City Council, Tuesday, June 13th. Thank you. 6:30 p.m. Ms. Kent, would you please call the roll?
Bowen? Here. Crawley?
Here.
Feldman?
Here.
Houseman? Rand?
Here.
Rotundo?
Here.
St. Hilaire?
Here.
Sweeney?
Here.
And Flowers.
I'm here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councillor Feldman, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Councillor Feldman. I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge that we have some of our city staff and fellow elected officials here in the room with us. Our City Finance Director, Brian Ailes, is here with us this evening. Thank you, Brian. Brian's working diligently to get the digital budget book up on the screen here with us. Also, our City Council budget analyst, Jerry Perry, is here with us. Thank you, Mr. Perry. And back in her very familiar seat, it's been a while, but it's nice to see Ward 6 School Committee member Lorinda Visnick here with us. Nice to have you back, Ms. Visnick. That seat has not been the same without you. So, councilors, we will go right to our public hearing, and I know we do have one member of the public signed up to speak. So, Paul Drake is here with us. Mr. Drake, if you would begin at the podium, you were headed the right direction?
Do you want me to read it first?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Before you begin, Mr. Drake, I'm going to have Ms. Kent officially read the order. Thank you, Ms. Kent.
Order 144, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 13th at 6:30 p.m. at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, live on BevCam, relative to the mayor's proposed fiscal year F24 budget.
Thank you. So, Mr. Drake, if you would just begin by stating your name and address for the record, and then you have 3 minutes to address the council with your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name's Paul Drake. I live at 8 Bartlett Street, apartment number 2. And in fact, Mr. Drake is what I'm called most often. I'm a paraprofessional at Centerville Elementary. And so it's just a joy to be here with you all tonight. I enjoyed last night's budget presentation meeting very much, and I could share a lot about what it means to have a really good, robust budget for our schools and for our kids and for the day-to-day stuff. But primarily, I'm just going to focus on really following up on some of the questions, the thoughtful questions that y'all asked of Dr. Sorochek, in particular. Councilor Rand posed the question of what is the city doing to try to really sort of hire more paraprofessionals in our buildings, and spoke to the importance of paying a living wage, to use my own terms. And I just want to underscore how important that is and how worthy a goal that is. Just seeing the impact that it has on our students to have more than one adult in the classroom. For kids who are that young, you have kids that students that have formal ed plans, IEPs, and many of those IEPs require there to be a paraprofessional like me in a class, and that's great. That's a good system. And I can just really tell you, and most people, I think, if you ask in an elementary building, would tell you that for every student that has an IEP that requires an extra, a paraprofessional to be in there, there could be, at least half a dozen that maybe should be on a 504 or an IEP, but that would absolutely benefit from having a second person. What that means is that we're able to run much more small breakout groups. We can do rotations if you're familiar with an elementary classroom. So it's not just one teacher having the students cycle through. You have 2 people that can really be hands-on in a continuous fashion. But really it comes down to relationship. Having 2 people for kids that young means that there's two people that can carry relationships. For little humans like that, their needs are very strong. So much of the day for these folks is, I have a need. Can you help me meet my need? And it doesn't come out like that all the time. It's messy, right? There's behavioral disturbances, and we're seeing more and more of that. A lot of conversations are being had at all levels, not just elementary and beyond. But what we can do at an elementary level, and I'm just speaking to that, I know my colleagues in higher grades would speak to the needs they have there, but it seems like both on a day-to-day in the classroom and for the trajectory of a student's life, investing in their experience at an early age, really should pay dividends throughout the coming years, right? If we can have kids that are showing emotional disturbance signs feel like school is a place for them, that they belong, right? And that these are people that understand them, then I think we're going to come a long way to really a longer way to reaching our social and emotional goals. Some of it is the programming that we've been working through, in our professional development. It's been awesome tools. School adjustment counselors, having more of those people, those folks are saints. We rely on them so hard every day. But there's something really important about having a day in, day out presence of somebody who is with you in the trenches, working on that writing that is so scary when you get the writing prompt and you're younger and you might be really smart, but it's so intimidating because you're struggling with anxiety. I've seen kids start their writing with their head on their desk for the first 5 minutes. This is not a student with a 504. This is not a student with an ed plan. I happen to be in a classroom for one particular student most years, but then I end up spending a lot of time with another student. And so we had some very dramatic, I don't want to get too specific, from some really difficult behavior from a particular student who just happened to be in a class with me, with a para. Now, at the end of the year, we're like best buds, man, because we're talking anime. With the other kids, I can talk basketball. One year, we were both reading Harry Potter at the same time, and having two different people that can maybe relate in different ways and take different touches. If a kid needs to go to the nurse, you can walk them down to the nurse if they need that. And a lot of them do need that, because if they're on their own, you might have a small problem that snowballs into a big problem. And so, to quote Ben Franklin, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? We don't just want to be cleaning up when you get to sort of like, if the house is on fire, we want to get it before that point. And that's what having people in our buildings does. It's social emotional learning, I think, is very much based on relationship, and relationship requires persons on a consistent basis, kids that know you're going to be there with them day in, day out. And it's also another fun little perk of being a parent of something I think is very impactful for the students, is that sometimes you move grades with them. So the folks I have now in second grade, I had many of them as kindergartners and many of them as first graders. That means I know exactly what they're capable of, and I can really push them, right? And I can really, I know what their triggers are, and sort of that institutional knowledge is great, but only so many of, very few of our classes beyond kindergarten actually have a para. And so I think if we wanted to mature as a district, making that kind of investment is important, and that will involve making Beverly a competitive place to work, an attractive place to work. There are many perks about it. I love going to work every day. I love the impact that I feel like it can have on my kids. I can't pay rent with that. Right, and that's real, and we all know that. And so I just want to affirm any effort and all the efforts the city has made previously to sort of improve that, and I really want to affirm and thank you for efforts moving forward. And I know the seriousness of the work it is to do a budget like this, and I thank you for your work and all the ways that we work together to try to get resources for our schools. So just thank you all for taking that seriously and for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Drake, and thank you for your work that you do in our schools every single day. And thank you for your reminder that relationship is a big part of what we do in education, and what you do every day building those relationships with young people in our schools. So thank you. Are there other members of the public who would like to speak? I'm only laughing because I'm looking directly at the other member of the public in there. Mr. Ailes or Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if there's any sort of thoughts you wanted to offer. I know that Finance and Property Subcommittee will be taking up the budget to vote it back out to the whole council. That will be on Thursday, that we'll take those votes, and then the council will have its opportunity to discuss and make final votes next week. So I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to say tonight.
I'll wait for next week. Is that
It's very suspenseful, but that will be fine. Mr. Perry, I didn't know if you had anything that you wanted to offer. All right. Well, seeing no other members of the public, and with our thanks to Mr. Drake for his participation and for weighing in, I would, before we adjourn, just offer those reminders. I just sort of roundabout spoke about them, but the process with the budget and our upcoming meetings through the end of June will continue. On Thursday of this week, Finance and Property, as I just said, the subcommittee will be voting the budget out for the full council's recommendation. So that is the next step in this process, and that will be in the context of the Finance and Property Subcommittee that's been meeting. We then will have our next regular city council meeting, which is also the last one before the summer recess, and that's on Tuesday, June 20th. And so I want to highlight that for members of the public who may be following and used to seeing us meet for our regular meetings on Monday. It's on Tuesday of that week due to the Juneteenth holiday on the Monday. That will be at 7 p.m. And then a special meeting of the City Council will happen on Thursday, the 22nd, and that will be for final discussion and vote on the proposed FY24 budget. That meeting on Thursday will be at 6:30 p.m. So an easy way to remember is all the budget meetings are 6:30 meetings. Our regular meeting on Tuesday will be a 7 p.m. usual start. Any other reminders or announcements from councilors? Councilor Rand.
I believe you mentioned the Juneteenth holiday, but the city hall will have its observances or celebrations on this Thursday, 5 o'clock. And then I believe on Juneteenth, there will be a variety of other events that I'm sure you can see via the city website involving the Cabot and I think one other place.
Thank you very much, Councilor
Not a
Rand.
lot of detail there, but be here 5 o'clock Thursday.
Thank you. It's a
Outside.
great reminder as
Thank
we
you.
come together to raise the Juneteenth flag. Any other announcements or reminders from councilors? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 8-0. Thank you to BevCam. Thank you to Mr. Drake. We are adjourned.